Now this is very interesting to me. It appears that we actually are at Higgs's factory. Whether this is before or after, I don't know. But you can see that he's already injured this first BT, but the windows are what gave it away for me. So when you are looking at the Higgs fight, which I think is, yeah. So you can actually see these windows behind Higgs, and you can see them kind of when he's fighting. Of course, Sam's head's in the way the whole time, but let's see if we can get a better look. There are some windows there, but we want the other side. So we want what's behind Red Samurai. So you can kind of see it right there on the left side. Yeah, okay, that's the best photo. So this area that we find Higgs in, and then we find Red Samurai and all that stuff, that's this area. We can tell that it's the same from the windows and everything. So what's interesting about that is the gameplay previewers told us that we didn't meet Higgs until, well, they hadn't met him yet. They said that they hadn't met him in the game. Now, I don't know if that means they hadn't met him in the mask, because you don't necessarily know if that's him. I mean, he doesn't take his mask off, so maybe they weren't allowed to talk about that, but they acted like they hadn't met Higgs in the first 30 hours. So I'm assuming this is Australia. We have BB in the pod, but yeah, this looks like a wild area. The other thing is, like, is Higgs still in there? That's kind of unclear to me, but this is definitely the same building. You can even see what I think is like maybe one of the hooks. And you can see that pallet. Let's look for that. Yeah, that's the pallet that's in the doorway. So this is the same building. What worries me about Lou is she's not moving. She's not crying. She's not making noise. The only time we really see her activate is in the Higgs fight. But of course, this is gameplay preview, so it's totally possible that that has been taken out or we won't be able to see it. Now, the thing that gets me here is, so we've totally clarified that is Higgs's factory. We know it. We can tell from the windows. We can tell from where the cargo is and the wood in the doorway. So that's his factory. And there's some scary looking giant BTs there. But then it shows us Mexico, which we know. We've seen that in the trailer as well. Let's see if we can go back to that. And this area looks like this. I don't know this for sure, but this also looks like the Higgs area. I just think it is the other side of it, like over here. So I think that these mechs and those giant BTs are all in the same area with Higgs. I think this is the same area. And we may come to this area multiple times. There it is. Okay. This is the first time that we see Mexico, in the trailers at least, that we knew of. You can see the grill sign over there, and we see that we have a storm. Just like in the other one, we kind of had fog, and then the next clip that they showed us with the PlayStation trailer, there was no fog. So this is the same clip. The thing is, though, in this clip, there is no Dolman, and if you look, you should be able to see Dolman's legs swinging, but you can't. So this is definitely like early game. We don't appear to have a pod, and we don't appear to have Dolman. Yet in this version, in the PlayStation game, I'm assuming we come back to this area. Maybe we come back and visit Deadman. This is the exact same area, and there are the Ghost Mech dolls, and we can tell that we actually have the same grill sign. So they turn us around. There's one of those big mechs. So there is the same sign right there. And we can actually see how close C1 is over here. So I'm curious if this area is just like one that later in the game constantly has enemies in it. Because here we have a different outfit. Our backpack is much more advanced. We have a pod on. Although I will say that the pod looks very strange. It's all yellow, but like it's like solid. It would be weird if we could change colors of the pod. I'm trying to see if we can see Dolman. I think we can. I'm pretty sure he's right there. So I did find that weird. Why is the pod orange, but we can't see anything? We get a lot of action in this area. You get this guy just like, that is such like a die-hard action movie explosion. Oh, look at that. There's, what? So that pod says void if tampered. So that is not lewd. This is like a pod that isn't even connected. He's just wearing it. I'll make a tweet about that. I'm really confused now. So is this prior to getting Lou fixed? Is she in the pod at the moment? Is this another child in the pod? The closest I can really zoom in is this, but that absolutely looks like the void if... It might be a drawbridge tape, but it almost looks like it says void right here. There's kind of like black tar leaking out. Oh, that makes me nervous. And he does not have Dolman here. So maybe this is early game. This might be before they get Lou's pod fixed. We get a little bit better look at battle. We've got some roads in the background. Love that. So he just absolutely flies off. But when we're looking again, he has no pod. He doesn't appear to have Dolman. Let's see if we can get a better look. Yeah, no Dolman. So again, this feels early in the game. The combat looks really good. Here it looks like we've taken over a turret from the Mule camp. This appears to be the same Mule camp we've seen multiple times in game. Over here is where you crawl up and you take out the mules and you're able to steal their items. So we've seen this a lot in the preview area. This is where I thought that I saw a person, but I don't know what that is now. Now that looks awesome. These appear to be like the new locked like mule lockers that keep all the items in it. We've got another look. So these must be like little sniper stations for them. So these are definitely things we're gonna want to like look out for and not get spotted by. Now this is the first look we've got at a creature that isn't, you know, like a BT. So it does appear that we're getting sort of a squid-like BT creature. I'm assuming that you can still get pulled by regular BTs and still get attacked by like sea creatures, like how you could in the first game. Oh, that thing is scary. This is another look at this boss fight. So behind us to the left would be the area that we see Higgs in. Yeah, okay. So when we start this, so that's the area that we normally see. This is the other side if we turn the camera. So it's cool that we get to see what the other side might look like, because we still don't know where this is. We still don't have any indicators. I assume it's in Australia because it says connect the chiral network to F1. And we know that C1 is Mexico, so I was just assuming that F1 is going to be Australia. Of course, you know, I would have thought that that would have been A1, so I'm like, did they include France? Could this be France? Just kidding. It's not France. I don't think. But I do want to know, why is it F? Like, what does the F stand for? Because we know that in Mexico, it's QDAD for city, so C1. And then, you know, bridges was the B1. So I'm like, what is F1 going to be? I think I'm in the wrong video. Which we got a really cool slow-mo on that. It's cool that we're getting, I like that we're still getting the reactive like slow-mos when you get a good shot. Which I assume this is Higgs' coffin up there. Now we don't have any confirmation because we've seen a couple things that have coffins now, but I think that's his way of kind of like riding along. Maybe all these coffins are filled with tar, and that's how he can kind of jump back and forth now that he doesn't have control of like maybe the beach. Now we get more of these creatures jumping out of the tar, which we saw Tomorrow do. So my question is, are these just people from Tomorrow's Land that are now embodying these mechanical robot bodies, and that's why they're able to do this? We get a better look at them, and we now realize that there are 3, which we kind of saw 3 in the last video, but we only saw 1 on the road with us. Now we can see that all 3 are on the road in this like mech battle chase, and not only do they have swords, which we did see in our breakdown video, but they also have shields, which I didn't notice at first. So they have giant shields and swords, just like knights almost. We get a better look at Sam here. It just looks so nice. Everything looks great. I don't see anything on him of interest though. It's difficult to see if he has a pod or not. So it looks like we got blown up, and we immediately go into the scene. We do have a pod, and we can see loot in the pod. The only thing is, like, she doesn't appear to be moving or doing anything. So I sure hope that we aren't just, like, using her as a way to repatriate, and she's not even, like, alive. That would be very weird. Okay, so now we're kind of moving into the final bits of this trailer. This is the best part of the trailer. So I think that's interesting. Of course, obviously I'm excited for the new like animations. I think this alone, like yeah, it's really good. He's hot, whatever. But like if you compare the shower animation to the first game shower animation, the graphics are crazy. Like he almost looks like a cartoon in the first game now. And then he says same as it ever was here. Now a lot of people think that Higgs is spying on them, and that's why he says same as it ever was. But they said that stuff in the first game. I just think that's a theme, that like that song is all about people going through life and just living just to get to the next day and never really like making a decision to actually go towards something or a goal. So I don't know, I just think it's a theme, but it would be funny. Some people have said like I know like Envy on Twitter and me were joking about maybe the cat is actually Higgs' spy. Like that would be funny. But that's breaking down the entire new PlayStation trailer. I think we got some good bits out of it. I definitely think we discovered a couple things. Let me know your comments and ideas below, and let me know your thoughts on the weird pod that says void. Alright, I'll see you in the next game. Bye!